The Rosen Report, sports like never before. Brought to you by Gouche Live and Paramount Sports Management. Here's Rosie.
Good Saturday afternoon to everybody. It is a Roundtable Saturday. Couple of little changes today. The Gouche will not be here today. He is on the golf course. He's got a big charity tournament. The Gouche, you know him. He's Mr. Charity. He's helping out. Could not get back to do it, but we got a great show. 100%. We got the producer, my buddy, the Fanshawe kid, John Laroche, and we got his dad, John, who not only does he have a great haircut, he knows his stuff. Now, rumor was Lucky was going to be on today to go toe-to-toe with John, but I kind of heard a little birdie from Colorado, Nazem Kadri, I think, said that John scared Lucky, and Lucky is not coming on. We'll open it up. Lucky, if you're there and you want to come on at any time to go toe-to-toe with the big man, you can. Let's bring up the boys, John and Jordan Laroche.
Hey, Rosie.
Hey, guys. How are
Thanks,
you?
Rosie.
Jordan, what's you think that Lucky's scared of your dad?
Yeah, I mean, he put a lot of work into this, so I think as soon as he heard that, he kind of put his tail between his legs. But I mean, there's still an open invitation for him.
It is, yeah. Lucky, if you're out there, you're probably having like a Zoom lunch with Nazem, your buddy. He can't get suspended yet. The season hasn't started. Although, hey, Naz still has one game to sit, right?
I believe he does. Yeah.
Yeah. He got 6 games, and they only played 5.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
They would have had to go. They had to go further for that to happen.
Yeah. I think he's got the first game of the season. He has to sit. Hey, for a second. Let's talk about that. John, what do you think about a player like that? Like the unlimited talent. You know, when he was in Toronto, Kadri, no doubt the guy can play. He had a great junior career with the London Knights. I think he started with Kitchener and then went to London. But a lot of talent there, and just continues to shoot himself in the foot when it comes to big playoff games.
You know, playoffs are a long run, and you need everybody to be firing on all cylinders. You know, we're going to talk about it a little bit later. You know, 1 or 2 lines doesn't get you there, and it's not even 4 lines. It's all the guys on each of those positions making it happen. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, you know, they didn't go further in Colorado, but I have to say it's part of the contribution, and I'm sure he feels as bad as anyone else right now, but, you know, it's a pattern.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, on Thursday's show, I don't know if you caught it, we, Jordan and myself, we talked goaltending and the goalies that could start off real hot, the ones that you never know. I'd like to get your take on Lucky's not with us right at the moment. Your take on the Leafs goaltending. Both Jordan and myself are high on Peter Mrazek if he stays healthy. Do you think they go Mrazek-Campbell, or do you think it's a 50-50? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
No, I don't. You know, there's never going to be a 1A. I don't think. You're always going to have someone that's going to take the leash. Doesn't mean that they can't switch around as the year goes on. But Mrazek's the guy, and for what it's worth, I truly believe this is a step up. You know, I think the Anderson era, you know, it's kind of in the Grubauer category. You know, these guys just can't win the big game. They're good, solid goaltenders. Get them through a long season. You know, you might even put Jake Allen in there, but you need that guy that's going to go to the next level. And let's hope, you know, Mrazek can do that for the Leafs. I mean, we're not Leaf haters or Leaf bashers, but, you know, the reality is this is a step up, and good for them.
Yeah, I agree. If Mrazek stays healthy, I think he's going to, by Christmas time, they're going to be thanking the fact that Anderson is in Carolina and Mrazek is here.
We actually have another guest here.
Oh, Lucky! I honestly, I put out the call to Naz in Colorado. I thought you were scared of Big Johnny.
Not scared of Johnny at all. Bring it on, buddy.
Okay,
Fashionably late. I like the entrance.
It's easy to be a keyboard warrior, so now we have to get together and see what the real scoop is.
All right, so Lucky, before I pass it on to Gouche is in here, he's at his tournament today. So before I pass it on to Jordan to do the facilitation of this, I want to ask you the same question that I asked John at the beginning.
Okay.
Your Leafs right now going into the season, goaltending. I'm high on Peter Mrazek. I think he's a hell of a goalie if he stays healthy. Do you think this is an upgrade from Anderson? And what's your thoughts as a Leaf fan?
Well, I mean, everybody, as a Leaf fan, everybody's going to wonder, is it an upgrade until he plays? I mean, the people that are in the know that he's a good goalie. I was never a fan of Anderson from day one. I don't like people that follow people. I have found him like he followed Matthews to Arizona and kind of lived with him and hung out with him. And Matthews is a kid. This is a grown-ass man. So I didn't like that at all. I just felt that he was, I don't know, not mean enough, not tough enough. You didn't really know him that well. I mean, Soupy came in and established character right away of who he was, what he was, whether you like it or not. Yeah. That's who he was. I found Anderson was, I don't know, who did he remind me of? Maybe like the other Anderson, Glenn Anderson. You know, Glenn was a great player, but really hard to figure out. And I think the best thing I ever heard was Glenn Sather says, you know, Glenn Anderson, I wouldn't want to have anybody other than him in the playoffs. Right. And I think that's where the other Anderson disappeared.
Right.
And I think Glenn Anderson really was the best playoff player, probably could be in the history of the Oilers, other than the superstars, obviously. Right. But I think Anderson was stunning. So I'm glad that he's gone. Yeah. Kind of funny where he ended up. But I think Toronto's problems are way deeper than worrying about who's in net.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that. Jordan, take over. The show is yours, and I want to see John and Lucky just go toe to toe.
All right.
So, here we go.
I think
John doesn't have enough weapons for that. Trust me.
Okay.
Just because you yell louder doesn't make you right, Lucky.
Oh, I'm not going to yell any louder. I just have to look in the mirror.
Go ahead, George.
But for starters, I mean, we'll stick with the goaltending for a little bit.
Sure.
We had this new tandem in Mrazek and Campbell, which, you know, neither guy has really been a true starter in the last few years. But we look at the other side with Carey Price and Jake Allen. Both guys have playoff experience. Both guys and helped Montreal get into the playoffs. And Carey Price obviously took over the show. But coming into the season, who would you feel a little more comfortable with us coming into game one? Mrazek, Campbell, or maybe even a Jake Allen if Carey Price isn't ready to start game one? We'll start with Rosie.
Well, yeah, you know what? If in Montreal, you can't go wrong. Price is your guy when he's healthy, and if he's not healthy, Jake Allen has proven that he can be a solid goalie, at least to start the year. In Toronto, for me, it's straightforward. If Mrazek is healthy, he's your number one guy. I like Campbell, I really do, and I was high on him all last year. I think he's so injury prone. You skate by him, and he's out for 3-4 games. I think the Leafs are going to be very happy, and the Leaf fans are going to be very happy with Mrazek if he can stay healthy.
All right, Lucky?
Well, first off, I don't think any four of them have won anything. So,
Jake Allen's won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, but I meant like on Montreal or on Toronto,
right?
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think Jake Allen backdoored that Stanley Cup, though, didn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't the main ingredient for sure. Anytime a goalie's available, it's for a reason. So that's another thing I look at. If he's that great, he wouldn't be bouncing around like a ping pong ball. Most cases, I mean, Patrick Waugh, but he asked for that trade. I don't know. I mean, Price is the best out of the four of them, so that's without a doubt. I don't think there's a doubt. Mrazek is a good goalie, but Toronto always seems to think they have something better than they do. So until it's proven, anybody that comes here, unless they really have thick skin, are in for a culture shock because it's a real tough town to play in.
Yeah.
and it's only more frustrating because of the front office downwards that we haven't won anything in so long. So, but Montreal hasn't won since '93, so I'm tired of listening to them chirp like it's all us. It's like, dude, 93, 2021, you know, it's been a long time. What, 28 years, whatever. It's a long time on both of us to not win.
Yeah.
I think Montreal has better heart than us. I think that's evident. I mean, they got more players. Look how far they went with not much talent. I don't think they're that super talented.
Good point.
I think we have more talent, but they have more heart, and heart wins cups. Talent wins front covers of video games, right?
A very good point.
Years in a row.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not up on Toronto at all.
And you're a Leaf lover.
I love the Leafs. I do. I've had some good conversations with Nas in the last few days and a few other players, and it's the same bullcrap they're trying to spin until they get someone that. I mean, we didn't do anything. We didn't mix. We signed Wayne Simmons. That says it all. He's a great guy 20 years ago. I'm surprised they don't call up Brian Glennie. I mean, God rest him, or someone else. I mean, it's crazy what they think they can get away with here because of what they charge and everything they do. But I mean, we signed too much forwards and then we forgot about defense. And now we're Patrick Orange. When Morgan Riley's your best defenseman, you're in trouble. You're in real trouble.
I'm listening to all of this, and I'm hearing old school, and I'm hearing emotion, and I'm hearing guts. It's not quite that subjective. There's some real things happening in Toronto and Montreal, to name two teams. But I'm gonna talk to you about one other one as well. I think let's talk about the goalies first. I think that if you look at the way that Montreal squeezed into the playoffs, it wasn't a slam dunk. Allen did everything that he needed to do to get them in there. Now, of course, Price carried the show after that. But that was a money situation as well. You had some charging teams, not the least of which was Ottawa, battling to make that last playoff spot. So you got a couple of proven goalies that can do it. But I think what's more interesting is, this makeup. And here's where I'm not going to blame Leaf management. But if you really look at what happened, they got trapped. They assumed that there was going to be an increase in the cap. That flat no increase cap era is coming to bite them in the tail right now. And if you take a look at how teams are built to do deep runs, the only way you do it is with four lines. Jordan, can you grab a couple of those slides that I put together?
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, Lucky, I did a little homework here. I went to Cap Friendly and looked at a couple of numbers. So on the left, you got Toronto. On the right, you've got Montreal. You're down about 4 players in Toronto make up 50% of the cap. In Montreal, you have to go to 7. 80% of the cap, 10 players. Montreal, 14. We know that, to go deep in the playoffs, you can't do it with 1 or 2 lines. And that's Edmonton's problem as well. But if you can roll 4 lines, you're going to go a long way. Now, it's fine to say Toronto and Montreal, and to borrow Lucky's comments, neither one of them have won anything in a long time. Let's look at somebody who has won. Jordan, can you pull up the next chart?
Yeah.
We looked at the same exercise, but this time we looked at Tampa. And I call this the missing middle, because that 3 to 9 million level, Toronto sitting with 8 players in there. Take a look at Tampa and Montreal. So now you got teams that can roll 4 lines. And the last one, Jordan?
Would you guys get together before?
No,
this is not right. This is not right. This is prefab. What's going on?
So just take a look at that 3 to 9 million. This is your 3rd and 4th line. We're not talking about, the 750 signings that are, are going to just, allow these guys in a flat cap era to survive. We're talking about real strategies of building the middle of that deck. For a young guy like Dubas to have, bet the farm on a couple of players, he's paying for it now. But here's the worst part, I think, Lucky. Then I'm going to hand it over to you. The worst part is that Toronto in this situation is going to, in my opinion, is looking at a Detroit era after after next year, because they've bet the farm on a couple of really good players. There's no one in the pipeline. There's no one out of that lineup that's going to make this team, because the team is actually too good. But the problem is they forgot to win the way Detroit won. So with no one coming in the pipe and no one probably cracking this lineup for the next year or two because they are too good, there's a fall off like you wouldn't believe, and they're going to go down that Detroit pipeline for a few years after. The difference is Detroit won before they did that, and the Leafs didn't.
Right. Hey, Lucky, before you answer, let me ask you a question. As a diehard Leaf fan, do you blame management for what's going on?
100%. I mean, you let Lou leave, let Hunter go. I mean,
absolutely.
And then you set your stamp on what's going forward. Signing Tavares was to follow the house of the ushers. That's where it started. We didn't need him. We went at him because he was big. We let Kadri go, who had 60-some points that year. So we kicked out him as a centerman that would have filled in nicely. Don't disagree with John. I don't think it's Detroit. I think it's worse than Detroit. So if it can be, I think it is worse than Detroit, because what they've done is we're going to be on the back end of that Tavares contract, and that's going to be real ugly. He's already slow, so he's going to get slower. And I love JT. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they made him captain. No way. I wouldn't have made him captain. I mean, I understand he was captain Islanders, didn't win anything. You know, he's always been that player that's too quiet, kind of awkward, you know, and I don't know if he's a good leader like a Gilmore or, you know, or an Yzerman or those kinds of individuals.
Who's your captain? Lucky, who's your captain?
I know you're going to say I'm out of my mind. I would have made Kadri captain before he left. I honest to God, I know you're going to say I'm crazy, but I think it would have changed Nas, and I think it would have changed the team. And then you're going to say, oh, he can't be a captain. He's out. I think it would have changed him. I think he would have, because he's got fire in him. And I think he would have seen that. I think now I would have made Marner, you know, or even Matthews. I mean, you want to keep them. I think Matthews leaves as soon as his contract's up.
And you know what? That's why you guys beat on Marner a lot, you know, a number of your shows. But I got to tell you, he leads in points for a reason. Okay, maybe he doesn't shoot enough. But if it were me, I don't think Matthews is scoring 40 goals this year. I don't think he's got his heart into this team, as Lucky says. And, you know, the last man standing is the guy I'm putting my money on, and I think it's Marner.
Yeah, I agree with you. See, we don't disagree a lot. I know we've taken text jabs, but I'm not a hockey idiot. I mean, I understand what's going on here. And I'm going to tell you what, the reason Toronto's in trouble is because now we just got to look at the next group of teams that are coming up. The Vancouvers, the Avalanche, Ottawa. I mean, they are getting better at the expense of laughing at the Leafs, because Kyle, are you kidding me? He's got no track record. We put him in a GM spot. It's almost like putting Ferguson in there. And we put Shanahan, who was a hockey player.
We said in the last show, Lucky, that the biggest mistake I think they made is Hunter walking. Do you think Hunter would put up with a team like this?
No way.
No, and I think Nylander would still be in Europe playing.
Where he should go back?
Yeah. I think they would have done a lot of different things. So I don't know what to tell you. I just know that it was my battery on this one's going too. I don't know if it would have been smart I would have kept Hunter. I mean, if you lose Lou, you got to keep Hunter. You can't lose both.
No.
Correct.
Because then you lose the real experience structure that they had. Look at London, how well they've done.
I just think that a young guy like Dubas just rolled the dice, and someone with a little bit more savvy, a little bit more gray hair, a little bit more experience isn't going to roll the dice on
no hair,
particularly that Tavares sign.
Yeah,
he's playing like a second or third line guy. He should be a first line, and he's you don't put him there, so he's not playing like.
And you can't let a kid call you up 15 minutes before a deadline after hanging you out to dry for the first month of the season, and dictate to what his contract's going to be. I mean, they overpaid him. People can say he's a good player. I don't think he's that great of a player.
No,
I think he's an okay player.
I'm not a big fan of Nylander.
No,
I
never
think
been a fan.
he held the Leafs hostage. Hey, Jord,
Yeah.
before we change the logo on the show and call it the Lucky and John Show, get another question in here.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of just building on what we're already talking about a little bit. Over the after next season, the Leafs are going to have to re-sign Morgan Riley, Ilya Mikheyev, and Jack Campbell. I mean, do they?
I'd let all three walk.
Sorry,
I'd let all three walk.
Really?
Yeah,
And,
because you can't pay Riley $8 million a year, $7 million a year. I think we got to say, okay, we took a shot at this team. It was the wrong shot. Everybody in front office is fired, and we just get rid of. We either trade Matthews and get some really good picks or whatever back and start over, because I agree with John. We blew it. So now we're going to be into a real tough situation because of the salary. You can't have 4 guys making that kind of money and not win and not even get out of the first round. So, I mean, that's the problem. We put all this money on. We can't even get out of the first round. And you've got talent. Matthew's a talented hockey player, whether you like him or not. He's a really good hockey player. But who would you rather have as a rookie, Matthews or Kovalchuk?
As a rookie?
Yeah, as a rookie.
Probably Kovalchuk.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he never won either.
Yeah.
And Ilya was a good player, but Ilya had Heatley when Danny was a rookie. And Danny won Rookie of the Year, actually, because Kovalchuk got hurt. But they had 2 good players there, and they won nothing.
Yeah.
And those 2 players, Heatley and Kovalchuk, were better than Marner and Matthews, maybe.
Yeah, good point, Atlanta. Yeah.
If you make that change in management and you bring somebody in with some bowling balls, I don't mind saying, what does a Hunter do to this team, in the next couple of years?
Clears house.
What do you think?
Clears house.
Yeah. Well, he trades 1 or 2 of those big pieces and gets some draft picks back, right?
Yep. You got to. I mean, you got to start again.
Rebuilding around a couple of those assets that you've got long-term contracts with.
Well, look at Ottawa.
Maybe you do sign, one of your D a little bit longer, but you need to bring some young guys into this mix. And the thing I would do this year, a couple of those guys sitting on the fringe, the bubbles, the young guys, the Robertsons and guys like that, let one of them play. Let a couple of them play. Why you keep filling from the
so
bottom?
Hard to get him in the lineup though because of the talent. The problem is those young guys that we have are great hockey players right now, and they were young, but we overpaid them. So we're already out of the gate.
You can't get into the lineup. Yeah.
Like we've given Armin $10 million, Matthews $10 million, Tavares $11 million. I mean, you don't
trade 1 or 2 of those pieces. That's what you got to do.
I think the value. The most value comes from trading Matthews. I agree with you 100%, Lucky. I want Jordan, your opinion on this. I'd let all 3 of them walk. How can you justify paying Morgan Riley $8 million a year? I just don't think you can. Can you trade him before the trade deadline, Jordan?
Technically you can, but I mean, Morgan Riley hasn't really panned out to be like the kind of puck-moving offensive defenseman that we all thought he was going to be, or that he was. And then you throw in, like, he's not the biggest guy, so he's going to struggle against some power forwards in the league. I don't think you resign him, but with Campbell, that's hard not to, right? Because the Leafs don't really have anyone really coming up, or there aren't many goalies out there left. They could take a swing at maybe like a Tuukka Rask, but he's old now. He's hurt. He's out till Christmas. So there is a lot of other moving pieces here.
Yeah.
The problem with trading Matthews is in a trade, anybody with intelligence knows whoever gets the best player in the trade wins the trade. So they're already going to lose because they're going to give up a better player than you're ever going to get back. You're rolling the dice on draft picks. So I don't know if that's where I think we're in a real quagmire. I don't think it's going to be a disaster no matter how we do it. The only way we can do it is if we got a couple of real heart guys in the team and change the culture. First off, you're not allowed to wear Drew clothing in the dressing room. Let's get that out of there. We don't need, a pop star in our dressing room. We need, like all this fashion stuff and, Gouche and I don't, it's just ridiculous.
And velour training suits.
Yeah, like it's gone goofy, and like they've taken over the room.
Yeah.
And now they did a collaboration with Bieber. Now they got like Leaf clothing, and you had to go in a lottery to win a chance to pay $300 for a sweatshirt. I put in my name just to see because I was going to flip it, and I didn't even win, and I got nothing, like zero. I put 5 items in for like $800. They sent me a text, oh, you didn't win the right to buy the clothing. I went, oh my God, they don't even go to the right fan. I've been dying for 30 years, 40 years, but it's a shit show.
Do you think they're having that conversation in Montreal's dressing room or Tampa's dressing room?
No, not in Tampa. Because I tell you,
Montreal is all about the team first, right? So
Yzerman laid the foundation in Tampa with the work ethic. If you remember back in the day, they were going to trade Stevie Y for Yashin.
Yeah.
And then the ownership stepped in and kiboshed the deal. Scotty had them done. And they brought in the biggest move they made was they traded Primu and Coffey to Hartford for Shanahan.
Right.
And when they got Brendan in, who's a serious, miserable bastard, was perfect for that team. That's what they needed. Right. Then they got Hall. They went and got Hasek. They went and got the pieces that mattered, and they built a team. But Stevie didn't have the best years the first 10 years in Detroit.
Right.
And I was there for all that. I mean, you've seen the picture. I've been on the ice with the cup. I mean, I saw from day one, the day Fedorov arrived, the day Datsud arrived, Zetterberg. That team built on talent and heart. Toronto's building it on fluff and duff. You know what I mean? And we've got a manager that looks like, what's the guy that turns into Superman?
Clark Kent.
Clark Kent.
What didn't have a lot to do with in Detroit where Ilitch, he's like, I own this team. I'm not allowing things to happen.
Well, he stepped in only once in a while. Let's be honest. He had Scotty Bowman as a coach. Yeah. And they had what's his name as the general manager. They had 2 of them there. Devellano.
Yeah.
And then So I mean, they did good. They're in a similar situation in Edmonton right now with the 2 superstars that are overpaid. I mean, Connor McDavid's a great player, but Connor McDavid couldn't win it on his own. And, we got Matthews and we can't win it. And the teams that win it, like you look at Tampa, they don't really have a huge superstar. They have 1 good player, 2 good players.
They're all under 10, right? I mean,
right. But the deal they made, they robbed Montreal on the Drouin trade.
Yeah.
And they got a great defenseman back. Defense. You got to win defense to win a cup.
Right.
Except maybe the Oilers back in the day. They had too much talent up front.
Right.
But they had Coffey, and then they had a couple good defensemen and a goalie that stood on his head. Yeah. So Toronto doesn't have that. We don't have any of that. What we have is we have a bunch of players that are famous and rich that are up front. I mean, Marner, everybody knows his dad hates Toronto. So you got him chirping every time. So you've got a lot of division, I think, in the dressing room. And then they try to bring in veterans. They think it's going to solve all the problems, and it doesn't.
Right.
Well, and you know what, that's a cliff to fall off of. And you just look at how long is it taking Detroit after they milked that as long as they could, 10 years in obscurity, and they're still not out of that. Toronto, I just don't like the next.
Look at the Rangers. Look how Glenn Sather tried to do the same thing. It didn't work. And he spent a fortune on players to bring in. Lindros. I mean, they brought player after player after player. They got lucky when they got Messier and won that 1 cup. But since then, they tried to buy a Stanley Cup, and they had all the money in the world, and they couldn't do it. And I can tell you what, Colorado's not going away. So I think if I was going to pick a team that's going to win, I think they will win.
You know what? Colorado, the missing link might be this year with Kemper in goal.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Might be the missing link.
Yeah. That's
Grubauer has Anderson disease.
Right. Well, we talked on Thursday. Jordan and I talked on Thursday. We had a goalie show, and we both agreed that, Colorado, they had everything except that clutch goaltending. And Kemper, if he plays like he can, Colorado could win. You could have your buddy Kadri could have a cup this year.
Well, what Colorado reminds me of is London Knights when they had Tavares, Delzato, Kadri. Yeah. They had all the things. They played Windsor. Yeah. They lost every game by a goal. Yeah. And Windsor won the Memorial Cup that year. And that they had everything, but they didn't have a goalie.
Yeah.
They traded for Tavares.
Too.
They had the experience of losing. Look at Tampa Bay. They had 2 conference finals before they even went to the final. Colorado's had this kind of heartbreak, and they've learned from it.
Look at Detroit. Detroit got their butt kicked before they won that cup.
Yeah.
You know,
The
with
team
Scotty
seems to have to go
Stevens
through it
and
a little more.
yeah. I don't think Toronto's got a good chance. I really don't. I think we're all going to be $300 grays, and
you think they even win? You think they even make the playoffs this year, or you think
No heart.
I don't think.
I think last year, when they lost last year, even the diehard Leaf fans just kind of said, realistically, this isn't gonna. This was the year or nothing. That's what I believe.
I agree with you, George. You got anything else to throw in?
I agree with Matthew Miser here. Maybe that's a little extreme, but this Leafs team is going to have to do a lot, and kind of what you were talking about earlier, Lucky, with not having enough room for these young guys to come in. The Rangers did that exact move this offseason, trading Pavel Buchnevich to St. Louis, so they can clear some room for Lafreniere or Kakko in the top six. So it can be done, but it's just a matter of when they'll do it, or if Dubas gets fired before the end of the year, because then someone else will do it.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see.
Any last questions, George, before we wrap things up?
I think we've just about beaten this to death. So thanks to everyone for coming out.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You got any last words for everybody out there, Lucky?
Well, I just, go Jays. I hope we can make the playoffs. I think that Toronto is going to have to go through a management change before we get anywhere. I could be wrong. I mean, they're probably sitting down there in training camp thinking they got it all, but I don't think they did anything this offseason that was earth-shattering. I don't know if I wouldn't have went to Buffalo and knocked on the door to see what Eichel and Dallin was going to cost us, or when Seattle was offered Price, I would have knocked on Seattle's door and said, "Do we give you Nylander or get us Price or something?" I would have shook up something major.
Yeah.
I would have done something to bring in someone big into that room that would have taken over and been a captain.
Well, you know what? We'll do this again soon. John, any last words for Lucky?
No, I think that Lucky's a stand-up guy today. I think that it was a hard one to be in that corner defending, something you don't believe. So I think we're all hockey fans first, and I respect that.
Yeah, I wasn't going to come on the show and beat a drum to look like an idiot. I can tell you that. But I'm a Leaf fan. I'm a diehard. And I really wish that we would win. I hope we win before I die. And I'm not laughing because
I'm leaving it at that. I don't know if that day's coming anytime soon. I hope you've got a lot of days ahead of you there, Lucky.
Yeah, let's just hope you have a long, long life left. Yeah,
it's going to take a couple of changes there. Maybe Tavares is going to have a kid that can play. You never know.
You never know. He can be the next one with the commercial with the pajamas on.
We don't know. But I know that anybody I've talked to with any hockey sense, from Coffey to Gilmore to whoever, they all say the same thing. It's almost exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's going down.
We just, on that note, we lost Lucky. But we'll do this again with Lucky. John will bring the Gouche up when he's off the golf course, and we'll have fun doing this again. John, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Jordan, we'll see you tomorrow night, The Journey at 8:00 with Brad Barco and myself, and Jordan obviously producing. We've got the incredible Jess Silver. Look her up. She's incredible. Flex for Access is the name of her company, getting people with disabilities moving and grooving in the gym. It should be a great show, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm excited. The journey is always a little fun to produce, so I'm getting ready for it.
Perfect. Okay, then. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate it. Hey, another fun Saturday. We didn't have the Gouche, but we had, as always, Jordan, a great producer, is always ready to jump in and take the reins. This kid knows his stuff, when people out there, okay, John and Lucky and myself, and Gouche, we're all around the same age, in our 60s, but 50s. I'm not sure how old John is. He's probably younger than us, but you know what I'm saying. And we always make this judgment on somebody younger in their 20s, like, oh, he hasn't had life experience. He hasn't lived this. He hasn't. I'll tell you one thing. Jordan knows his stuff. First of all, he's a hell of a goalie. Second of all, he knows his stuff. He can back it up. He knows facts, and he has got a hockey mind. And this kid is the future. I'm telling you. I'm proud to be a part of this Gouche Productions with Jordan. He's a real good kid. I want you guys to really stick around tomorrow night. Come back and watch us. Robert Wine, Matthew Meisner, all of our regulars. Jess Silver is going to rock you. She is. There's Robert Wine. He'll be here for sure tomorrow night. Matthew, go Sabres. Jess Silver, Flex for Action. She has taken disability to another level. So take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a great Saturday. Like Lucky said, go Jays. Let's get a big win. And we'll see you tomorrow night. God bless.
You've been listening to the Rosen Report, sports like never before, with your host, Rosie. Brought to you by Gouche Live and Paramount Sports Management.